In this video, we're going to review how to evaluate the expression. And the biggest thing to remember is that the goal is to find the value. That's why we use the word evaluate, because the word value is inside of that word. Evaluate is a verb. It's a thing that you're going to do and accomplish. And the goal of that is actually to find a value, a number at the end. So let's take a look at our first examples. Notice we're evaluating for x equals 3, y equals -2, and z equals 5. So the first one, before we get started, I want you to remember, always use parentheses. This is so important. If you do this, you will be much more effective in your calculators. You'll be much more effective when you're using your own skills to solve this using order of operations. So let's get started. When I talk about parentheses, I mean around the numbers you're plugging in. So parentheses 3 for x. And then we're going to do parentheses -2 for y, because the question said xy. Plus 4 parentheses z. Now z is 5, so we'll put 5 in the parentheses. With using the parentheses, now I know what operations to use, because you should remember from the past that this parentheses 3 and -2 means multiply. So using order of operations, I'm going to multiply before I add. So I'm multiplying 3 times -2, and I'm going to multiply 4 times 5. I have to do all the multiplication before adding. Then I add together -6 plus 20, and I get 14. Now, if this is still hard order of operations for you, but you can do the first step that you see in red here, then feel free to plug what you see in red here in a calculator. That's a great way to check your work. You should always be challenging yourself to try and solve these problems using the order of operations like I did here to get 14, but always, always, always check your answer in the calculator, because that way you know if you're right or wrong. So try it on your own, but check it in your calculator. But the first step in red, if you use parentheses, you will get this correct every single time in your calculator. So let's take a look at the next example. X squared minus 4y plus 2z. So x is 3, so in parentheses I put the 3, on the outside I put the squared, because I'm only putting parentheses around the numbers I'm plugging in. Now I'm going to do it again, minus 4 parentheses y, so I'm putting in -2, plus 2 parentheses 5, because z is 5. Now I'm going to use my order of operations. Again, you could use your calculator at this point, but let's try it with using order of operations and see if we can get a little stronger at doing things in our head. First, we do exponents. So I'm copying every single thing else down. I just did 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. Now I'm going to do the next step in order of operations, which is multiplying. So I copy the 9 minus. Now I'm going to multiply 4 times -2, because 4 parentheses -2 means multiply. So I multiply and I get -8. Don't lose all those negatives. Subtract -8 is what you should have written down. Plus, now I'll do multiplying 2 times 5. That's much easier. That's just 10. Now this next step, again, if you're not great with your operations, try it on your own and check in your calculator. 9 minus -8. That can be used flipped to 9 plus +8 because of that keep, change rule many of you learned in middle school. You keep the 9, change subtraction, change the -8. So really this is 9 plus 8 plus 10. Now that's much easier. 9 plus 8 plus 10 is 27. And there's your value for question 2. Your job now is to try questions 3 and 4. You're going to try questions 3 and 4, showing your work, especially the stuff you saw in red for the one up here, number 1, and the step you see in black for number 2. Those 2 steps should be shown on your tests, and then you could use your calculator if you have one. But do try to do the order of operations. Pause the video now and try questions 3 and 4, showing at least 2 steps. The stuff you plugged in, and the final answer. When you're finished, press play in the video to see the solutions and to see if you're correct. Pause the video now. So you should have paused the video and tried 3 and 4. The solution to number 3 is 40. If you did not get 40, you want to ask your teacher to see where you went wrong. For question 4, the answer is 26. If you did not get this one right, you want to ask your teacher and show them your work to see what you did wrong. But remember, you should have at least one line shown for the work that you did to solve this problem. If you did not get these right, ask your teacher. If you did, continue on to evaluating on the next few questions. Hopefully this gave you a good review of some reminders and some helpful hints on how to solve questions that ask you to evaluate. Don't forget to ask lots of questions and try the next few problems.